Hey, this is Julia Rebecca Myron, aka The Messy Meditator, and this is the Messy Meditator podcast, where I'll be getting into the topics of mindfulness, messiness, and life. So let's get into it. Who am I? That is a question I have been asking myself a lot lately. So the last 5 years have been some of the hardest, most stressful, traumatizing, painful years of my life. And I know I'm not alone there because, first of all, the pandemic has fucked us all up. And I think a lot of people just kind of went back to resuming standard operating procedures and going back to life as usual. But nothing is the same. Everything is different. And I don't think a lot of people factor that in, that we are all really fucked up from the pandemic. And then add to that, our country being taken over by a fascist dictator. I mean, just those two things alone as the backdrop of our existence is a lot to mess with someone's mental health and sense of safety and security and well-being, and just to try to make sense of that all. So we're all fucked up from the pandemic. I'm fucked up from the pandemic. I'm also fucked up from living in a place that is a mecca for conspiracy theorists during the pandemic. It was a mecca for conspiracy theorists before the pandemic. And then when the pandemic happened, shit got real crazy there, and it really fucked with my head. And then I jumped into a very emotionally abusive relationship, which also fucked with my head. And then I moved to a city I hated and didn't know anyone to be with said abuser. Moved in together. Tried to make that work. Didn't really even know how bad it was. I knew it was bad, but I didn't really know how bad it was until I got out of it. And the more time and space I got away from it, the more I saw how bad it was. So that fucked me up. So it was a lot of different things that fucked me up. And then our current political disaster here in the States. So there's no backdrop of things are going to be okay. It's quite the opposite. And that makes it a lot harder to heal, because if the basics and the backdrop of our existence is relatively okay, then we can focus on our own healing, and then that can start to feel like we're going to be okay. But if the basics and the backdrop are terrifying, then no matter what healing work we do, there's still that happening. And so that's a whole other conversation and road that I don't necessarily want to go down. But that is all just to set the tone and set the backstory for how I got to where I am now, and me wondering, what the fuck and who the fuck am I? Who am I now after all that shit? Now that I've got some time and space away from everything that was causing such trauma and distress and pain, and I'm able to start healing and recovering and rebuilding my life very slowly, much slower than I would prefer, but slow and steady wins the race. Who am I now? Who even am I? Who am I? That's what I keep asking myself. And I think that this is a really important question that we should all be regularly asking ourselves. And I do tend to regularly check in and ask myself, who am I? Who am I right now? Who am I in this situation? Because who we are can change depending on the day, depending on the circumstances, depending on the work that we do and have done. Who I am right now might not be who I am tomorrow. And who I am today is not who I was yesterday. Yesterday was a rough day for me. My internet and cell service was out all day, and I was having some issues with that. And so who I was and how I was showing up was much different yesterday than today. Today, I'm well rested. I got my Wi-Fi back. I'm able to make texts and phone calls and get some work done. But this question, who am I, is something that we can ask ourselves in so many different situations. And it is a moment by moment question. And there are so many opportunities in life to discover, decide, and demonstrate who we are. So, who am I when I'm happy? Who am I when I'm sad? Who am I when I'm anxious? Who am I when I'm joyful? Who am I when I'm winning? Who am I when I'm losing? Who am I when I am mired in shame over having let myself get into another abusive relationship after I worked so hard to make sure that that would never happen again? Who am I when I'm recovering from all of that? Who am I when I'm facing my demons? Who am I when my government is being taken over by a fascist dictator? Who am I when I am seeing so many rights being stripped away from innocent people? Who am I when I'm triggered? Who am I when I'm annoyed? These are all opportunities to, again, discover, decide, and demonstrate who I am. And again, it can change. So who I am when I'm annoyed might be different depending on if I've gotten good sleep the night before, if I'm well nourished, if I've eaten any triggering foods. It might depend on what the annoyance is. Some annoyances are easier to roll with than others. Who am I when I'm uncomfortable? Who am I when I'm being mistreated? Again, it depends on the type of discomfort and the type of mistreatment and who's mistreating me. So who we are is not static. And so as I'm asking myself, who the fuck am I right now? Who am I anymore? Well, right now, I got good sleep. It's a beautiful day. I got to wake up to morning cuddles with my dog. And I know that at my core, that who I am is someone who cares deeply about other people. Who I am is someone that deeply values connection and community and who loves humans, generally speaking, of course. Who I am is someone who not only believes, but knows that Black lives matter, that trans lives matter, that all LGBT plus lives matter, that immigrants' lives matter, and that not only do all of their lives matter, but their rights matter. Who I am is someone who is naturally joyful and optimistic, but who has felt so disconnected from joy and optimism for the past 5 years and wants to get that back. Who I am is someone who values personal growth and progress and evolution. Who I am is someone who values laughter and kindness and beauty. Who I am is someone who loves nature and feels deeply connected to the cycles of the moon and the seasons and the trees and the birds singing and earth and the universe. Who I am is someone who loves music, and loves live shows and just the arts in general. Who I am is someone who thrives in artistic environments and thrives in intellectual environments. Who I am is someone who values slowness, even if a huge part of me gets impatient and also hates it. Who I am is someone who just wants to share what she has learned and the insights and wisdom that she has cultivated over years of doing deep, intense work in hopes that it will help other people heal and grow and connect and build community through this shared desire to want to heal and grow and get better. Who I am is someone who feels disconnected from that as well. Who I am is also a very wounded little girl inside, very wounded. Who I am is someone who grapples with their own messiness and is trying to love herself through it all. And so those are all elements of who I consider myself to be as a person at my core overall. And I also know that who I am really just depends on how I show up in each moment. I may value humanity and kindness and love humans. But if you catch me on a day when I've gotten shitty sleep and I'm wrestling with my wounds, I might not be the kindest version of myself. And depending on the situation, being unkind to one person could be a way of showing kindness to another or showing kindness to yourself. And we get to decide which is more of a priority to us. And two things can be true at the same time, that I'm a good person and sometimes I'm an asshole. That I'm a kind person, but I don't show up to every moment as the kindest version of myself. I encourage you all to check in with yourselves and check in with who you are right now and how you're showing up to the moment that you're in. And even if you don't show up to a moment how you would have liked to, there's always a new moment to try again, to practice demonstrating who you want to be in that moment.